Okay, so now let's understand about this bi-encoder and cross-encoder part, right? So till now, like we have understood about these things. So let me just hop over this part, right? Then what is actually bi-encoder and cross-encoder? So you might have already understood till now that we have something called as retrieval. Okay, that I have retrieval, and like the most significant part of the retrieval is that RAG is, let's say, 75% of the retrieval. Okay, so if we do the retrieval part very significantly, then the entire RAG part we can have a control over, right? So when it comes to bi-encoder, right, so it can actually act as a very first stage of the retrieving stage. Now what does that mean? It means that suppose the user is actually having some query. Okay, the user is actually having some query, and let's say that you have something deep embedding. Okay, deep embedding of your documents. Okay, which by far you have learned about the embedding model, right? So the embedding model will basically like try to embed each and every chunk of the documents, okay, properly. So this is actually the embedding part, right? Now this is the user query, and this is actually the deep embedding of chunk document. Okay, chunked document, right? Now, what does that mean? It means that whenever in a RAG part, whenever the user is asking a question, okay, so let's say the user question is first divided into the chunk, okay, and then it has to first go into the embedding part, okay, that so that all these chunk will converted into the embedding of user's chunk, right? Right? And let's say that these are the document chunking you have. Okay, these are the document chunking or document embeddings, okay, of what? Of documents chunk, okay, which means the document that you have uploaded, okay, the chunk documents. Now what will happen is that suppose if you are actually giving it to the bi-encoder model, right? So suppose if you are actually giving it to the bi-encoder model, so what does this bi-encoder model will do is that it will try to embed it parallelly, okay, and individually. So it is not like that, that it will going to first do the embedding of the user part, and then it is going to do the embedding of the document part. Okay, it will do the embedding individually and parallelly or both side, okay, so that it works more fast. Okay, so if you are like worry about the fastness of the solution, okay, of the retrieval part, then the very first stage of the retrieval, okay, where all this embedding occurs, you are supposed to use this bi-encoder model. Okay, it is already a BERT based model, right? Now when it comes to cross encoder, right, so you can also try to apply the cross encoder in the embedding as well, but cross encoder is basically like gives you more accuracy, right? But it is significantly slow if your data and context size is very large. That's why, right? So I will also going to give you the cross encoder example. So what happens in cross encoder is that it is try to encode it, right? It is try to encode. So let's say that you have a user query. Okay, let's say that you have a user query. Now it will going to append it with your documents. Okay, whatever the document that you have significantly collected in the past. Okay, and do the chunking operation. So by far you have that embedding, right? Now you are going to append the user asked query with that data. Okay, so you can actually see that the user query as well as the earlier data. Okay, the already embedded data. So these things will going to increase the embedding part. Okay, and then suppose if you are supposed to pass it into the embedding model, and then these things is going to work. Okay, so just tell me that which one is better. Of course bi-encoder is better. Why? Because bi-encoder is basically like try to do the embedding part at the very like the early stage, as well as it will try to do the embedding part parallelly. Okay, that is why we are supposed to use this cross encoder part at the very end of the retrieval stage. Okay, I will tell you that let's say that if I go to this RAG diagram, then you would understand that. Just understand it, because that is very like important, as well as is significantly needed, okay, in order to understand the RAG part. So as you can see that when my retrieval is going to fetch all this relevant embedding part, right, so it will go to this LLM. Okay, it will go to this large language model, so that inside the LLM I have given my system prompt, and then based on that it is supposed to give me the final response. Okay, now before this, right, before this reason, like before this area, right, this area, right, what will happen is that we are supposed to give all this retrieved embedding to the cross encoder part. Just understand that. Okay, so what I'm about to tell is this one. So let's say that you have some set of a word which is already been retrieved. Okay, let's say that user has already asked some question, and here it is actually your RAG agent. Okay, and RAG agent is supposed to give you the response, right? RAG agent is supposed to give you the response. Okay, and in the response side you have a LLM, so that whatever the embedding that already been fetched, right, it will go to this LLM. It will feed it into the LLM part, and then LLM will understand your entire set of embedding mapped with your text, and then it is supposed to give you the response, and finally you will get the response, right? I am telling that once like retrieval is able to retrieve the like the most significant embedding, okay, of the user asked query. Okay, now what happens is that in the middle stage, right, you will try to use this re-ranking approach. And why it is needed, I will tell you. Okay, re-ranking approach. Now, what does that re-ranking approach mean? Okay, it means that it will, suppose I am going to fetch the top, let's say, three query, like the top three embedding, okay, of the most relevant embedding. Okay, suppose I have already fetched the top three relevant embedding. Okay, it will going to contain the embedding mapped with some word. Okay, in the vector, like this one, in the vector database. Just understand this part. Vector database I will come later, but understand this part. Okay, now suppose that these are actually top three relevant query. Okay, now you don't know that how much relevancy does it contain, because there is no the score chart attached to it. Okay, there is no there is no matrices attached to it. Okay, there is no relevant score attached to this thing. Okay, then how will you like properly understand that out of these three retrieved chunk, okay, from the vector database, which of these retrieved chunk I need to pass it to the feed it into the LLM, so that LLM would understand it and try to give me the best response. Okay, now in that case you are supposed to take help of cross encoder. Okay, so cross encoder you are going to use it at the very last stage of the retrieval section. Okay, and the very first stage of the retrieval section you are supposed to use the bi-encoder. Just understand, bi-encoder at the very early stage and cross encoder at the very last stage. Okay, so let's say that if you are supposed to use this cross encoder part, now what does this cross encoder will do is that it will try to attach the chunk score, or let's say the retrieved relevance score, RRS. Okay, let's say that 0. It will try to give 0.83, 0.63 and 0.47. Okay, so you can understand that this is the first relevant document which actually have the most retrieved relevant score. Okay, and how do you actually like give that score? You are supposed to pass this entire set of chunk into the another transformer based model, which is like the pre-trained, just to score the retrieve chunk. Okay, that how much of these chunk are basically like relevant to the user query. Okay, you are supposed to pass it into this cross encoder transformer model. Okay, so that it is already meant to actually assign the different relevant score on the retrieve chunk. Now you get it right. So after passing it into the cross encoder part, the cross encoder is try to like give the significant number. Okay, and then after giving it this number, you are supposed to pass the most accurate, like the most retrieval score, which is like this chunk. You are supposed to pass this chunk into final LLM. Okay, which means that this chunk into the final LLM. Okay, which means that this chunk is basically like kind of attached to some kind of a word. Okay, let's say the cat is on the mat, something like that. Okay, because these are the numbers, right? And these numbers are basically like try to attach with its own significant text, okay, into the vector database while you were doing the chunking part. Okay, so these were the relevant number of, let's say, the words. Okay, the sentence token. Okay, you are going to pass it into the LLM part, so that in the LLM you are already assigned some system prompt that this is how my data looks like, this is how the user is supposed to ask question, and whatever the system prompt that you are supposed to give at the very last stage of the retrieval part. Okay, and so that you will get the very final response. That is the reason I need to like tell you this part, like the bi-encoder and cross encoder part, because this one no one will going to tell you like in the rack section. Okay, most of the people just try to like simulate this diagram, okay, and just try to tell at the very upper layer that this is how RAG will work. Okay, but internally how does it work, how does chunking and how many chunking strategy are there, okay, how to create an embedding, how to like what are the limitation of rule based embedding, and then why we have jump into the transformer based embedding, then what is BERT encoder. Okay, then we have understood about this, that how to do the embedding calculation, right? Then we have actually understood about this one, right? So we have MLM strategy, okay, masked language model, we have a, let's say, next sentence prediction. Okay, with these two strategy we are actually training the transformer model just to give us the correct embedding which is more contextualized. Okay, and after that we have understood about this bi-encoder and cross encoder part, right? That at the very retrieval stage, the first stage of doing the embedding or before doing the embedding is that all the chunk has to pass it to the bi-encoder part. Okay, and at the very last section we are supposed to understand the cross encoder part, so that whenever the retrieval is going to retrieve my best possible chunk, okay, out of this chunk, okay, in order to make the rack system more relevance, okay, in order to make the rack system more enhanced, you are supposed to use the cross encoder, so that out of that retrieved chunk, okay, out of that retrieved chunk, which of those chunk are basically relevant, because the retrieved chunk is also relevant, right? But out of this retrieve chunk I am also trying to filter it more. Okay, that is why I'm actually using this cross encoder. Okay, so that it will try to tag some number, it will try to tag some relevant score. Okay, so that I will get a much more enhanced retrieval. Okay, which is like more according to my knowledge base. Okay, which will contain more domain knowledge, that's why, which will not contain any unnecessary information, right? So that is why there is a need to understand about this bi-encoder and cross encoder part, right? Now let's understand about this, the very last part, which is like vector database. Okay,